With the announcement of Season 10, people have a strong opinion on the Safe Seas. Now, whilst I'm very much for the Safe Seas option, and clearly if you look back at any forum of Sea of Thieves, there's plenty of demand for it, I want to promote High Seas. So I won't sugarcoat it to you and give you the good, the bad, and the ugly of High Seas. The ugly. Interaction with other players is probably the most intimidating feature with High Seas for a lot of people, especially if you prefer not to be open mic. My maiden voyage into High Seas involved being sunk immediately by some sweatlord in seconds whilst he screamed the N-word at me. Right there and then, I considered deleting and uninstalling. Almost 500 hours later, and getting no better at the game, it should be obvious that this didn't deter me. And it shouldn't deter you either. High Seas is basically the internet-made manifest. You will bump into these people eventually, and it requires a small amount of filtering. You can mute text and mics from other players, and it gives you a much more peaceful experience. You can't stop them from syncing you, but you could always imagine it as some sort of extra hard mode encounter. Despite the negative aspects, you do tend to learn some lessons in the way of hard knocks, e.g. if you're anchored, you're basically stuffed, and why double gunning is probably the preferable option if your reflexes are good enough. The bad. Sea of Thieves still has its challenges in regards to hackers. Whilst they seem to be more predominantly focused in Hourglass for whatever reason, there's nothing more unsatisfying than watching Jack Sparrow zooming in from the distance, kegging you immediately with no option of a comeback. Whilst Rare seems quick to ban if you have the recordings, and I say this with 100% submission ban rate, there's little they can do to stop them from coming back on a fresh account. It's there, and it's something that shouldn't be accepted, but unfortunately is. Secondly, if you're on a less populated region, then the servers seem to be awfully quiet. Whilst this may sound like a blessing to some, it can make the Sea of Thieves seem like the Dead Sea, as there's no sign of intelligent life anywhere. The good. This is going to seem a bit controversial, but open crew in my opinion, it's one of the best features, and the worst, in this game.
I don't suppose you guys want to be friends, do you?
Yes, you get your plebs who just stand there and do nothing, or blast music over the microphone, or drive your ship into an impossibly stuck location, just because. But for a small while, it forces you to adapt to your new companion's abilities. It's great for learning ships, as you can learn how heavy it is to steer, how helpful a useful player is with sails and adjustments, and learn about the roles of any ship and what's necessary. You become the jack of all trades over time. You obviously get a range of players from brand new to sweatlords themselves, and most of the community are willing to help you learn and explain the advantages and disadvantages of a ship.
What the fuck with for? You'll be, yeah, why?
It's also incredibly funny and or infuriating watching your new teammate communicate with the other player.
Fucking oath, mate, let's go! Yeah, man.
I actually believe that the recent Tall Tale of Monkey Island Journey to Melee Island almost prepares you, in a light-hearted way, of what to expect in terms of vocal taunting and communication from the High Seas.
Hey, the shark eating him.
Tell us why you have a small penis.
Once you gain a bit more confidence with your own ability, the fear and intimidation of other player interactions becomes less intense, and you can truly start to see the magic of the High Seas mode. I would have never experienced one of my most highlighting fights, whilst on a brig, fighting against a galleon and another brig, all whilst in the fog around a Fort of Fortune, all in open crew. The rush of creating shady alliances in the heat of battle to ultimately betray or be betrayed by a said friend who came to your aid only moments earlier. Bumping into 7 random ships all in an alliance around one island and you cautiously approaching, only to find one guy trying to coordinate a bunch of sugar-crazed sailors to stand still and play music around a tree.
Yes, I'm so happy. Pegasus, I wanna fucking kiss you. Pegasus, I'm going to kiss you.
Just don't move. Just don't
Pegasus,
move. And I'm crying.
The sneaky snake missed out.
go home.
You'll never have to do this again. You'll never go through this again. I swear.
Having someone guide you through how to open a vault for the first time, only to go back with someone completely different who is completely useless and you drown, which in turn works out in your favour as you respawn to find someone's about to keg your ship because you did a drive-by cannon shot whilst they were at a port earlier and one board their ship and sunk them. When you've had enough of dealing with random people who often can't speak your language, spam ship sighted commands, or just wanted to reach out into other aspects of the game like fishing, then find your local Discord Sea of Thieves community. The better part of activities in this game are always better when they're shared experiences. I joined the Sea of Thieves Australia Discord with a link posted in the description of this video to try and bump into some of the small OCE population. The people there are a humble, friendly bunch, and often sell themselves short in terms of their own skills. And if you're lucky, there's always that one person offering a stack sloop of PvP flags or loot. It's worth being part of a small community, which in turn can lead to its own adventures, especially if you're trying to hourglass. I bumped into a player from this Discord who in turn introduced me to another bunch of people. We found two Briggs doing a bit of team deathmatch on an island. Now, most people tend to leave these guys alone, but Sea of Thieves kinds of makes a specific point that there are no real barriers, so we decided to do a bit of espionage and keg the ships. We had a bit of giggle at their expense. They ended up calling me a rascal, which I haven't had done to me for 30 years, but they just simply recovered and carried on as normal. Actually, we tried going a second time and made our sloop some sort of super bomb, but we missed and blew ourselves up. But we got a giggle out of it. The game begs you to get involved with a bit of cheeky mischief. The clue is in the name of the game. There is no honour amongst thieves, only respect if you can hold your own, and it educates you on how to adapt to the world around you. And this can only really be done with high seas and a bit of open crew. Yes, you'll be outplayed, you'll be outperformed, bump into a twitchier player or a streaming god, but you will never get to experience 5 people all together by sheer coincidence playing music on a rowboat whilst lighting fireworks in the skies in safe seas. There's always a bigger fish, but would you much rather a sea full of fish or a dead sea entirely? Again, just a small shout out to the Sea of Thieves Australia Discord, who have been especially welcoming to new players. Great bunch, and 100% recommend if you're tired of solo slooping, or if you're crazy like I was, solo brigging. Also, just a heads up, I tend to stream random stuff, mostly Sea of Thieves lately, most evenings from 8:30 AEST till late. Feel free to join me and join the madness. Ciao for now.